Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. How is everybody? Russell, Gary, good afternoon. Good morning, Gary. Hans, hello. How are you? Gabriel, good afternoon. Hans, I was meaning to send you a message earlier today, and it it never happened. Oh well, I'll send you one later. Um, then you're waiting for the fun to start. Yeah. Um, Very busy morning. Holy cow! I have this table at the end of my shipping table, and we used to have a table at the old shop, and we called it the table of anxiety because what it ended up being is it was the place where special orders hung out. So if somebody ordered something that we didn't have in stock, or something happened and we had to order something for somebody, the orders went there. And we kind of named it the table of anxiety after the great Esterbrook Botanical Garden debacle of 2020. What was that? 22, 23, 20? Yeah, 23. I think it was. And because every time you look over there, there was these orders, and it's like I want these orders to go away. I want these customers to have their stuff. They've already paid the money, and so we called it the table of anxiety. And then eventually the table of anxiety would shrink down to like a couple of orders. And it's normal if you have one or two orders, special orders, no big deal. Well, I've got a really tiny table since I have a very small shop. Got a very tiny table at the end of my shipping table, and that's kind of where I put extra stuff. So the stuff that I'm working on, or it's a tray of pens that I need to get up on the website, or it's new consignment, or whatever. And it's been a disaster for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks. And so I really put my last 2 days. I put my head down and I just, okay, we're gonna get this taken care of, because it takes a long time to get a decent amount of time to get um a dozen 15, 20, 30 pens listed. I need a a ticket holder. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's just what I need. Maybe I'll put it on the end of my I'll put it on the end of my buffing wheel. And um so anyway, why am I telling you this? That's what I'm working on the last couple of days. That's where, like, we get new inks in and they need to be sampled up. The bottles go there. So it's all stuff that requires my immediate attention. Now, of course, it doesn't help that I have this huge pile of stuff that's been there for 2 months now, um, that is destined for Baltimore, because I've determined that if I'm investing the money to fly, because we never fly to a show, investing the money to fly to a show, and all that jazz, and I don't forget anything. So I've had this pile of stuff for Baltimore for the last, I don't know how long. It's been like 2 months, I think. And so that's taken up half the table and all this stuff. So I got a bunch of pens listed this morning. That was great. Finally caught up. And now I'm not quite, well, I'm not completely caught up, but I got some consignment stuff to do, but which is great because I got a new batch of consignment stuff coming in on tomorrow. So, but I'm not going to do that until I get the other stuff done. So I've got my table of anxiety. It's just smaller. Anyway, I don't know why I'm yammering on about that. So let's see. What do we got today? I'm trying to think if there's anything else, any other rant I need to get out of my system. You guys are so patient with listening to me rant on terrible vendors. I got nothing. So let's get cooking. We've got I got a couple client pens that came in the mail today, so we're gonna hop in on those. We're gonna finish up a couple of the pens that we had from yesterday, and I got to do that desk pen, and then we'll see what else we got, and go from there. So, but first, as promised, Gary. But last week Thursday, Gary was mentioning he had a pen from Conklin called the Crescent pen, but it did not have a crescent in it. So I forgot to bring the book yesterday. Yeah, showtime. And I don't know how much of this you're going to be able to actually see on the thing, so I'm just going to read it out loud. You think you need a table of despair for pens that you can't fix? Yeah, I mean, I've got a whole rack of them right behind me. I got a whole rack. I got a whole rack. So we're gonna have a little story time today. We're gonna read about the Crescent pen. And because of my terrible lighting, which I almost started to fix about 1:30 before I went live, I decided that was probably a terrible idea to do that 1:30 before. I need to do it like a half an hour before, so something doesn't get screwed up. But I'll work on that. So I'm just gonna read it to you here. The actual Crescent pens themselves are on the next page. So this is in the Conklin Legacy book. In the back, under Conklin's second brands, All-American, Crescent, and Ottawa, and the production for third parties. So it says, Conklin rightly considers that the All-American name would lose its meaning when exported outside the U.S. So they had a line of pens called the All-American, which kind of looked like so. They look like a Conklin. Okay. Double bands, lever fillers. So it loses its meaning when exported outside the U.S. After all, the name was thought up to express that any American citizen would have access to a Conklin quality fountain pen. For this reason, they used the name the Crescent pen for exporting the All-American pens produced in plain colors between 29 and 31. And I know what you're thinking, Gary, but that's not my pen. Because here is a Crescent. Okay. Between 34 and 35, Conklin was producing the All-American streamlined as a secondary brand. They began to use the Crescent pen, a Conklin product, for exportation purposes. These pens are based on the same production of the All-American that was being sold simultaneously in the United States. These fountain pens have eye-catching colors and a high level of quality for being a low-priced product. They have the lever filler system and are ornamented with 2 bands on the cap. They came in only one size for men. Clip is the same as in the symmetric line, with patent number 1265757 belonging to the spring-loaded clip from 1918, and a half moon engraved on the top. This line shares plastics with the symmetric late production models and with many of the streamlined patterns for the All-American models. No samples have been found on the Crescent pen with quick filler mechanism, which is this guy here. So there we go. There are your Conklin the Crescent pen. That's something different. So in Gary, I think yours was it this one, I think? This kind of red veins, gray, almost lizard skin kind of looking thing. So that's what it was. Fourth from the left. Yep. Yeah, so meant for export. And if we flip back 2 pages, there's the All-American. In that same material. Very, very hard to tell the difference. Other than obviously the imprint. So that's the deal. 34 to, 34 to 35. It doesn't say if that was just 34 to 35. If so, that's a really, really short run. And so thus concludes today's story time from the Conklin Legacy. All right, let me put this down over here. All right. So that's what that is. Not to make things confusing. That series would be challenging enough to complete that it could be fun to collect. Yeah, and the pencils, because you got to get the pencils. I like that. I like little challenges like that. Okay. Let's put these guys back together and get them out of here. Yeah, I mean, who knows how many they made? I suppose finding them here in the U.S. is really not an easy thing. You're in a better position to probably find them than anybody. It doesn't say where they exported them to. But fun little research. We're going to get these ready. Then we'll get the heat gun out. This little bugger here. I meant to try to look up a little bit of research on what they might have called this filling, what they might have, or a patent on it anyway. I'm actually shocked there isn't a patent date or something on this. Okay. And Gabriel, your pen went up this morning. And I thought of you as I was looking at a pen that I was about ready to put on the website. A gray bandless Model B. And unfortunately, I didn't have a picture of it. So for whatever reason, like only half of the, I don't know if it wasn't shot in order or what, but I only had like 3/4 of this tray of pens that I was listing, and it missed like the last 3 pens in the tray. So you need a gray Model B. All right. Well, my daughter was going to have lunch and then edit the pictures for it, so it'll probably be up. Let me let me shoot her a text here. Hang on. You have the A and the H. Wow. Okay, that's cool. All right. Yeah, those are fun. I like collecting the bandless. Maybe now that I've got the Esterbrook desk set list compiled, I'll start on the rest of the pens. Somehow the pens seem less daunting than the desk sets. I don't know why. There we go. Might have missed it yesterday. Are warranted nibs replacement nibs only, or did manufacturers use them as their original nibs? Yes, the manufacturers use them as their original nibs. You know, if you were kind of like a buying all your parts from a jobber, you're buying your rod stock from the Day Rubber Company. You buy your nibs from somebody else. You know, you buy all your parts and then you assemble your pens. I mean, there's a lot of companies who did that. There was really not a whole lot of innovation going on. You could buy some of your parts. Maybe you came up with this harebrained idea for a lever filler, but you didn't. You know, it's just easy enough to. You don't have the equipment to make the nibs. You just go and you just buy the nibs. You buy them from somebody else. You know, it's much akin to today. Lots of companies buy all their nibs from Yovo. They spend their money on everything else. And you know, there's somebody in the market that's really good at doing it. To, you know, take advantage of their expertise. Juicy, your hubby might join us. Awesome, very good. So, I'm not even going to test those. Those are good enough for me. They're much closer to what they would. I mean, this one is much better looking than it was. So, the pens for Esterbrook faces must be easy compared to Schaefer. Yes. Yeah. Because Esterbrook didn't really change their design. They made more changes in the dipless area than they did in the regular desk pens. There's literally count them, two sizes of desk pens. There's the early R. Esterbrook marked ones, which are longer. So I'll tuck those in there, nice and safe. There was a later Aerometric desk pen, and there was a later Phaeton desk pen. Now, I have no idea what base those would go in. The Phaeton desk pen was a Mexican production piece. So, all right. Today's group of pens. So yeah, you know, and with Dipless, it does get a little messy. They must have sold a ton of them. There's just so many varieties. You know, the whole front section is different on some. Some it's all integrated, you know, one barrel and taper, and Schaefer changed on a whim. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've discovered that with just a few Schaefer bases I have, which reminds me, I have a Schaefer base, Hans, that one of these days we got to get together and I got a trumpet to put in the base that I bought in November. And then I got to find a pen for it. So there is that. All right, so let's see, what do we got here? Do we take this apart? I don't remember if we took it apart yesterday. All right, well, let's as long as this one's kind of started, let's just pull that out. I'm out of paper. All right, so I got a couple pens sent in. for repair. This one, I'm not sure what it is. It seems like it's a, I don't know if it's a Stratford or what this is. A little unusual. Well, we'll take the heat gun to that. Yeah, we got a nice shaper crest here. Interestingly enough, I thought this was maybe a white dot, but it's a perfectly, it's a perfect white droplet on the blind cap. Obviously we've got one on the cap, but I think that's just a drop of something. A prototype white dot. I don't know if you're being serious or not, because I really don't. This is outside of my realm of expertise. When I look at it under the loop, I mean, I don't know why I would have. You bet you could convince me it was a prototype. It's not, I mean, it's a dumb place for a white dot, right? It's, you could see its raised surface. You know, normally that kind of thing you can get off with your fingernail. Are you saying I'm gullible? Is that what you're saying, Hans? Because if that's the way you want to play, we can have some fun with that. Yeah, there's a Friday afternoon pen. No, I mean it's clearly on top of it's clearly on top of the surface. I mean, obviously it would be, right? Let's get these apart. You're really good at PS? I wonder how that's going to play out after like a couple of beverages in Baltimore. We should have like a game show. And you try to BS me on, we'll play who's BSing who. You tell me Schaefer facts, and I'll tell you Esterbrook facts, and we'll see who can guess which one is true or not. Someone of the factory pranking future collectors, huh? All right, so where is this going to come apart? It's got this huge clutch. It's going to come apart above the clutch. Boy, does this thing need to be soaked. Live stream it? I don't know. I suppose we have the power. I'm too knowledgeable to fool? I don't know. You might catch me halfway. There's a lot I don't know. A wise man knows what he does not know. So I can see a gap, so I can definitely tell it comes off, but is it threaded? Is it friction fit? Spicy, how are you? How's my back? Yeah, it's good, man. That was what, about a year ago now, huh? Okay, just to be cautious on this one, we're going to soak it. It comes apart right here. It's not moving at all, but I can see heavy ink buildup in here, which means who knows what's going on. It's probably friction fit. It could be threaded because it's not a, it's not a big 4 or 5 or 6 or anything like that. So you don't know what to expect, but we're going to soak it first, and maybe we can get, because there's enough of a gap there that I can see it. We can get a little bit of water in there. Maybe it will, if we can get a little in there. All right, in the meantime, let's get this guy open. You recently got into reading. Well, my fountain pens found other uses aside from journaling. You couldn't stop yourself. You got Lord of the Rings first, huh? All right. I need a notebook. Be right back. On today's edition of The One That Got Away, this one I always loved. Sailor Pro Gear in transparent green. And yes, that is the color that the pen is. So they had this in a Pro Gear Slim for quite some time. But they stopped making the full-size Pro Gear a couple years before they discontinued this. All right. that section on the Esterbrook. Hey, Colin, you have 3 M800 in the translucent green? Oh. And it's gone. Okay. All right, we're going to get rid of this O-ring in here. Oh, oh, looking for this. This is a an original chained Model W. And yes, it was underneath my underneath my keyboard. All right, this kind of came apart in one big crunchy mess, which is good. Beautiful. All right. Let's get a sack and an O-ring for this. Let's get this ready to go back together. Beautiful. Okay. So sadly, no time today to play with the buffing wheel. But hopefully later on this week we can get back to that. There was like zero instruction in the box, you know, for someone who's not done it before. What do you think? Should we take that white dot off of there? It's like it's a perfect little dot. Leave it? Yeah, I probably will. Sad struggle news, the PFM blind cap repair didn't hold, but the barrel did. Okay. That is good to go. You're able to complete your first engraving on a balance. Removed using micromesh sheets. Used a buffering wheel on your Dremel. Pen came out great. Okay. The only time I ever try to remove something if it's already mostly gone anyway. And I like engravings anyway, so. I mean, if you're trying it for the sake of trying it, that's cool too. A little bit of corrosion to build up in the inside of this ring here, so I'm just trying to get that off. You want to sell it, so you thought you'd get more without the engraving. I mean, I guess it depends on what it is, right? I'm telling you, though, some people don't care. And I think it's probably more than just Hans and I. Really interesting grayish green. Yeah, but the only time I would try to work on them is like, say for example, that 58 that I have, the Waterman 58, and someone very callously scratched out the engraving on it. And what actually looked to be like a really beautiful cursive script. You know, and so I mean, it looked bad. I just don't get why people would do that. And do such a horrible job at it too. I tried to raise the scratches out with heat, but it just, you know, on a pen like that, I didn't really want to do that for too long. I am bringing it to Baltimore. I'm going to have Linda Kennedy just tweak the nib for me a little bit. It's just not a pen I want to mess with. It was fun to work on, but that's like the last step. So if If you screw something up there, then it's... Wow. This one has no inner cap whatsoever. I can see the end of this little nut here. You got an old low-tier pen some kid scratched their name on? Makes you smile? Yeah, I got a couple of those. Hard rubber, usually. At least in my experience. A lot of mine have been hard rubber. A little bit of... Somebody polished this about 150 years ago. I can see the excess polish under the clip. Looks great until it dries, and then all of a sudden you've got this... In this case, it's almost a green paste. Of course, this could be all for naught if it doesn't actually open up. But I'm going to think positively. How's everybody on the East Coast doing? Got a ton of snow. We're supposed to get a little something here tonight, but it's going to be nothing. And then Friday, it's supposed to be 49 degrees. So go figure. All right. Okay, the good news is that the ink that was in here cleaned out nicely. We'll give it a little blast of hot air here, and we'll see if it's snowing in Appleton. I was just out at like 1 o'clock. Go across the street, grab some Chinese food for lunch, and the there wasn't any sign of precipitation. Okay. It's cold there. Your cousin has 3 feet in the Northeast. Jeez. I tell you, I do miss a good snow blowing day. Three feet is chest height for some of you. All right, so the ring spins. Interesting that the whole pen spins with the ring around it. I might have to just soak this one overnight. I don't like the feel of this plastic because I know this plastic is really not strong against heat. Just out of curiosity. The sack inside actually appears to be good. And it holds a decent amount too. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this soak. Worst case scenario, we don't replace the sack, and if we can't get it open, we do no harm. And I know in this case, it's the owner's grandfather's pen, so we don't want to do any harm. That blows through nice and easy. We'll look at this nib here real quick. The left tine seems a little bent in place, but maybe I'm just... We'll see how it writes. Yeah, I don't think we're even scheduled to get an inch. Which is good. I needed to warm up like a couple of days because my deadbolt in my garage has got moisture in it, and no matter what I do, I can't get the moisture out. I've tried a heat gun, to try to evaporate the moisture that's in there, but it freezes over and then I can't get my key in. So thankfully, a couple days ago we had an issue with the door, actually the door frame getting stuck. And I had to take a trusty syringe with hot water in it and squirt it around the door frame so I could actually get the door open. And on that day, the deadbolt worked. And then the next day, the deadbolt didn't work. The frame was okay because at the end of the day, I took a heat gun to it and I just heated everything up and wiped it off with a towel. But the deadbolt's got some moisture in there that I can't get out. WD-40 usually dropped the moisture. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I just thought, I got a heat gun like blasting right on it. That should do the trick, but actually, let's see, you mentioned that. I'm gonna grab my I don't know if I have a can in the garage or not. I'm gonna grab my can and because it's supposed to be like a high of 20 most of the rest of the week except for Friday. And I left my spare garage door opener in my other car, which is in storage on the complete opposite end of town. And I don't get over there but once, maybe every 4 or 6 weeks I get over there. It's right next to my VW dealership, but they're taking their sweet time ordering a tire for me, so who knows when I'm actually going to get over there. The last Melbourne Pens meeting, Dragon from Proto Pens was a guest. He's based in Europe and is developing a technique to use old celluloid from pens to use for pen repair. Cool. Although that sounds like exactly what DRC was mentioning. Oh. Yeah, I think that's in the back of the Marshall Oldfield book. Basically, gouge it out, fill it back in. Sand it down or take it off. All right. There's a little shrinkage there. It's not too bad. All right. Well, I can let that one sit. I need a 16 for this guy, actually. J-bar is actually pretty good. It's off. I think there's a little bit of something on that taper. Now I could find another taper and replace it, or I could just fix this one and be done with it, which is probably what I should do. So it's not too bad, and I'm going to have to fix it at some point. Probably got 5 inches of snow yesterday. Yeah, there's a little, kind of see it there. Probably could take this off in a lick with my buffing wheel. But I know this method works too, so it's just a little. Scrape it into the middle of the street and they use a jumbo snowblower that they dump it at the dump trucks. Yeah. Every city is a little different. When I was downtown, they used to have what they do downtown here is um, everything gets shoved into the parking spaces, so you can't park on. I mean, which really sucked being being a retail store. Um, but all the snow ends up in the parking spots, and then they come by with this special little plow, and they kind of scoop it up and Get rid of it that way. Our streets around here aren't quite that big to have a middle. All right. I guess if I was going to do this, I should have picked one that was really bad. Since I got to do it all anyway. Nice thing is you can screw it out a little bit, and then if you put your finger there, you naturally come to a stop. You don't have to worry about getting run over on your barrel. I think once I get good at my buffer, I'm just going to take all my desk pens and I'm going to go do all the tapers. Of the desk sets you have now, only one has the removal end, and that one is a pattern green. Only one has the removal end. Oh, like the clear one that you have? Yeah, lucite. All right, that looks pretty good. That's better. Boy, I tell you, it would be nicer on a buffing wheel. Brunswick, Maine used to scoop the Main Street snow into trucks and dump it into the river. Then DEP stopped them from dumping it, but the runoff from downtown goes into the river anyway. Yeah. Oh, okay. We're gonna find a nib for this pen. There are some places that have equipment that dump the snow into it and melts it, and then they just drain it into the street. Now, see, now that's I always wondered if somebody had that kind of idea because, like, why wouldn't you do that? Just melt it, make it go away. It's going to end up there anyway, right? At some point in the season. Interested to get people's opinion of the Waterman Le Mans 100. I've heard that they're very good pens, so I was thinking of picking up a used one. Yeah, I had a couple here. Nice size. This guy makes you glad you live in the South. Nice size. They often had a plethora of nibs choices available. Obliques and double broads and things like that. They just have to make sure the water district can handle the increase of the water into the system as they treat the water before it's released into the river. Yeah, I suppose. You never know what's in that. All right, so I'm just gonna quick clean up. Hello. No, I'm not buffing. Lisa Anderson, everybody. I have no idea what she's doing here. She should be working. Hans says hello.
Hans Solo, what's going on?
Hans.
No?
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah, yours great.
No, I do not need a desk set.
He's got a doozy. He almost sent.
Did you tell him what I said?
What did you say? No more desk sets or you sleep on the couch?
We got a box from somebody and I was not a happy camper.
Yes, and then you came back and said, "Oh, is that a recorder? I love those. Those are cool." Why, yes, they are.
Who'd you ban?
Oh, it's a spam.
Spam ban?
Spam.
Spam ban?
Bam, bam, spam the bam.
Yeah. All right, I'm going back to work.
All right, you do that.
Adios.
Adios.
Lovely to see everyone. Hans. Hans, we bought you a present.
We did. We did buy you a
We
present.
tried to buy you two.
We tried to buy you two, but that's another story over a beer or something.
yeah.
Please ask her if she's in this. All right. Oh, well, don't thank me yet. No, we really, well, we saw it. We said, "Oh, Hans needs this." And so that was that. And then the other thing I tried to buy, they wouldn't let me buy. Okay. I don't know. I guess I looked too suspect to buy that. All right, I have shellac all over my hands now. Okay, this guy's gonna dry. That guy is done. What do we got over here? Oh, those are done. I got this VS here. That really needs a polish job. But hey, I got a buffer now. This one I would buff. It's too much work to. It definitely needs a buff. Let's see you later. Yeah, it's good business not selling something to eager paying customer. Yeah, and they called back and they said, "Hey, well this item doesn't have a price on it. Can you give me a price?" And they said, "No." They said, "No. They can't give me a price on it." Like they just like ripped it away from my hands. Okay. More desk set. So that was kind of funny. Sort of. All right. And it's hilarious because then I actually happened to look it up online. I found the same thing online, and it was going to be a lot less than whatever they were going to charge me for it. So, but I was a little turned off. That was the last time I'm coming to this place. Like, just come out and just make something up. Yeah, sometimes it works out. I wasn't 100% certain you needed it anyway, so. It was funny. There's no price on it. Well, tough. Meanwhile, I've been carrying this thing around, and it weighed about 3 pounds. 3 or 4 pounds it weighed. Throughout the store. For about 30 minutes. There was a Parker VP on eBay that you were interested in, and they said there was a crack in the cartridge. They're not a pen person, as they were showing the squeeze converter. Well, if there's a crack in that, you're SOL. Because it doesn't take cartridges. It only takes that. It only takes that proprietary converter. You offered hundreds of dollars for a display item you saw at a dealer's table at a pen show. Hundreds. 9 months later, you found one for $25 on eBay. The dealer said not for sale at any price. I was feeling crazy. They should have tried you. Yeah, you know, there is one particular Esterbrook display that I've always wanted. And I found one once. Well, they'd always slip through my hands. I had opportunity to get one once from Gary Lair, and he didn't accept my offer, and then there was no counter offer. that was the end of that. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that's how the game was played. I thought it was like, if you tell me to make an offer, I make an offer, and then you say, well, no, how about X plus 30%? And then I go, well, no, how about X plus 15%? And then we shake hands and go, yes, give me the money. So I didn't get it. And then I saw it for sale on somebody's table once I think it was in Colorado, the Colorado show. And I'm like, cool. In good condition. And it's a small little thing. It's not huge. I said, how much? And they wanted like $1,500 for something ridiculous like that. I was like, did I hear you right? Is there an extra zero on that I heard? $1,500? Yeah, $1,500. Okay, no, I'm not paying $1,500. No one's paying $1,500 for that ever. If it's not for sale, just say it's not for sale, right? And then what was it, about 3 years ago? In Columbus, I walk up to Martin Ferguson's table and he's got one, or he pulls one out. Oh, I just got an email. Desk set for Lisa. All right, Colin. We'll check that out. And Martin pulls one out. Now, it's admittedly not as nice as condition as the one that was $1,500, but I want to say the price was $50. And which was probably, for its condition, probably a little bit more than I should have paid. But after hunting for one for 20 some years, $50 wasn't the worst thing in the world. And I haven't seen one since. But yeah, sometimes it does work out. All right, let's see what we got here. So, yeah, this is pretty ugly. Pretty darn ugly. I really would love to knock this out and put it on the buffer, but these sections are they're tight, B, they shrink, C, they crack. So if the nib is good, which this one is, we put this in the ultrasonic, we turn it on and we let it clean out, and we look at the rest of the pen. Now the rest of this I could probably buff. You got to tell me what display item that was for sometime. This would be greatly improved by the buffing wheel. I'm really excited at the prospect of actually finally getting a stinking buffing wheel. Last summer I was at Mike and Linda Kennedy's house, and he looked at me like I was from Mars when I said I didn't have one. So, now the problem is I got to set up a table or something over here. We're getting about ready to expand, and I think I may have mentioned that the other day. And so if we do that, I'm going to lose. I've got some display things over behind me that I'm going to get rid of, and I might put a desk or something there, and then I can put some tools and stuff there. The Vanishing Point resin block, the one with the bird-looking thing on it. Is this a new item? You'll have to show me. I'm not certain I know which one that is. So yeah, I'll eventually get a permanent home for some of this stuff. You mailed a picture of a nice 2140 desk set you can get Lisa for your anniversary? Pretty never inked. Oh yeah, the Azure. Yeah, that's great. That's a great set. The fun part is she checks the email in that inbox, so she's gonna see that. You're gonna see that before she gets done with work. She's just thought about making more coffee than what you and Lisa drink during the day and selling it to Lisa coworkers next door. There's actually not that many people. I don't interact with the insurance agent, but the at the doctor's office there's like one part-time person. And then there's an optician, and that's it. And actually, they sort of have a policy against beverages and things like that there, so. But they're pretty flexible because they borrow boxes from me every once in a while, and I take some of their small boxes that they get frames and things in. Instead of them having to recycle them and throw them out, then I use them. Yeah, I got that 2140, so. Although I that's like one of the Esterbrook desk sets like I don't think you can have enough of, because you can get an Esterbrook desk set in any color you want as long as you want it in black, or black is a major percentage of the whole thing. And that and the lime are like, I suppose the 116s and the 117s too, but there's a whole lot of black going on in the Esterbrook desk set world. All right. That looks good. That looks good. Oops, I missed a spot. Oh, that? Yeah. Some idiots wouldn't sell that for hundreds of dollars? You be kidding me? That's insane. Yeah. Yeah, I got one of those around here somewhere. I'll sell it. I'll sell it. The next person that offers me hundreds of dollars for it, I'll probably sell it. It wasn't me, was it? Because I don't sell stuff, so it very well might have been me, but I don't think I would have had it at a show. That's just funny. Like you could just call. It was not me. Okay. Because I think I only have one. It's a pretty heavy piece. You were at your craziest and you really wanted. Lisa would have said, Brian, look, what's that over there? And then she'd go, here, take it. Well, I'm glad you found it for $25, man. That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, I think I got that one. But for under 100, yeah. Yeah, you ended up having 3 of them, yeah. All right, that's a 16 if I recall correctly. I'm glad I'm getting some sacks in this week because my stash is getting a little low here. It was not me. That almost sounds like something I would do. Something stupid like that. If Daddy had said no, you would have asked Lisa. If Daddy said no, talk to Mommy. Too funny. You'd be surprised though. Sometimes she gets really attached to certain things and I mean, we all do, right? Scary thing is I don't know how much I would have paid for it. I was in St. Louis and I hadn't found anything to buy. Yeah, and do you fall into that thing where you feel like you should buy something? You're at a show and especially if you paid good money to get there. You do, yeah. Yeah, and I know Lisa always tells me, she's like, you don't have to feel pressured to buy just because you're out there. And I'm like, well, I kind of sort of do, you go to an antique store and you make it a big deal. we've done a couple like overnight trips now just for fun. There's something different. That way we can go further and go to places we've never been instead of hitting the same old usual places. And like, I remember we did a 2-day trip once, and like, I think all we found the first day was like one pencil for $2. And I was like, I don't want this. I don't need this. It's $2. I think I can make some money on it. We can pay for part of the gas. And I bought it, It's like, your mom was with you when she was worried that you weren't having a good time since you hadn't bought much. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to chat with friends and, and do all that. But, sometimes we're there because I got a box I got to check off. She got a pen before you did. Well, I'm pretty much checking that one off the list, I think, for the year. I don't think that is not a good choice for me this year. I mean, I guess it's a full 2 months. It's a full 2 months after Chicago. But if I do Chicago right, we got March, April. So I got 2 months in between Baltimore and Chicago and 2 months between Chicago and St. Louis. I mean, I'm like 95% positive I'm not coming. You'd love to go back, but it cost you $1,750 just to attend last time. Yeah, that's it. Like, what is it costing me to go to Baltimore now? It's not quite that much, but yeah, at least like, well, don't feel like you gotta buy. Like, are you kidding me? I gotta buy something. I'm gonna come home with something, even if it's even if it's I buy a pen for. Like, once I sold a pen to somebody for, what did I sell it to him for? $1,200, and then he turned around and he put it on his table for $13. Like, that was like the worst use of my money. Spending $1,200 only to make $100. I mean, I can make $100 on a $500 pen way quicker than a $1,300 pen. Buy $200 pen itself for $300. I mean, come on. I was like, well, whatever. Your money's good with me. All right. I'm going to give this a go on the buffing wheel later on. Should we see if this thing opens? I mean, I'm just really hesitant to. You'd have to buy a suitcase full of pens just to justify the cost. Yeah. I mean, maybe I just leave this. Yeah, I mean, I always go by Bert Ozer's sage advice. If you can't sell at a show, you got to buy. And the more it costs you to get there, the more you got to buy. Your budget's got to be bigger. So, and I don't have a huge budget. I realize I have a bigger budget than most people, but my budget is nothing compared to some of the guys I know that walk in there with, 10 grand or more in their pocket. I'm not walking in with that much. The 2 times your mom joined you in St. Louis was fun. If she wanted to go again, you would do it. Oh man, don't tell me you're going to do it this year, because I really don't want to go. Because if you went to St. Louis this year, I'd have to go. And Lisa can't come with me, so we decided. It was yesterday. You get a 5% chance? Yeah, I'm kind of at that 95. I'm not going. So apparently you're the 5%. We discussed it this year. Lisa's not going to Chicago this year. Because I like to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And while she could get off of work, it would be Thursday and half of Friday. It would be unpaid time off of work. And she's already taking all of her vacation for her Europe trip later in the summer. So we decided it was probably not the best use of resources. Yeah, I know. And believe it or not, she said that's the only reason she would go. Well, so the flip side of that is we can always try to persuade you to come up to Wisconsin for a day after the show. That's an idea. You got a lovely Parker 45 orange. Orange 45. Good for you. Fountain pen mechanical pencil set gold trim mint. Yeah, orange is great, isn't it? I got one of those. It's like my only, as much as I love 45, this is my only 45. It's orange. It's just the best color. Yeah, maybe if you come to Appleton as part of the trip. Yeah, I mean, you can stay as long as you want, but I mean, if you just wanted to come up for a day or two or whatever and see the sights, the sights being like the shop and, the local antique mall or something, I don't know. I'm just going to fill this with a little ink and see. Yeah, I mean, you're only going to be... You could stare at me awkwardly behind the camera while you stream? No. No. You're either on the podcast or the stream or you're not. No staring awkwardly. We'd have a guest. We could have a guest on the podcast. That would be nice. That's not a bad writing pen, actually. Whatever it is, it's like I don't know if it's a Stratford. It's not. It would be marked, and it's not. I think there's a hair in here. That's what was causing that. Should it have a live studio audience during the live stream? Yeah, there's a hair in here. During the podcast or this? I mean, either one. I'm not sure what. There we go. That's not a bad nib for a steel nib. Okay. I may I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It just won't open. It would be nice to open it up and at least make sure it's all good to go, but tell you what, I'm going to let that soak. At least I know if I have to let it go like that, it's going to write. 4 o'clock. I guess I need to pick something else out, don't I? All right, let's see. I need a tray. And I swear I had one here earlier. Oh, here it is. Let's put something in there. Vacumatic. Something tells me these two are pens that I couldn't get open. Maybe not. The matching pencil. This one just needs shellac. We just need to do that. That one. This one's kind of a no-brainer. Golden web. And let's say a red Canadian vac. I believe that's Canadian. Yeah, I think this is, yeah, that's Canadian. I'm a enthusiast. Hi, everyone. Important question. Chicago or DC? Vintage or modern? Yes, please. Oh, well, I mean, you know. I haven't been to DC in a number of years. DC was always bigger. Yeah, DC is the biggest. It's worth seeing. Chicago is better for vintage, and the crowd is much lighter. Yeah, it's not like it used to be, sadly. The Chicago show used to be really something else. Boy, this green major is pretty beat up. We could pass on that for now. Well, this is a good start on some vacs, I think. Those are worth doing. You get a really good mix in DC, but it can be overwhelming. Yeah, yeah. Saturday's wild in DC. Yeah, I mean, Chicago's pretty nutty too. I don't know. The new venue was the new venue was okay. It wasn't my favorite. I'm going to transfer these pens to this smaller tray here. The old Chicago hotel was getting really run down. I'm going to go out on a huge limb and say the Rosemont was the best. The Rosemont Hotel was kind of where it was at, I thought. I don't know. Hans, were you ever at the Rosemont? That was a nice hotel. Never at the Rosemont. I'm probably dating myself there. I don't remember what the last year that the Chicago show was at the Rosemont. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it this way. Put the pencil at the end. I'll deal. Actually, I'm gonna just do it this way. Okay, so I think we determined this one was good to go. I just need to seal up this hood. I want to say this one didn't come apart, which is why for some reason I just threw it back in there. And this is why you should label all your pens. If you can't get them open, put a piece of tape on it that says doesn't open, so you don't spend another half an hour the next time. All right, we got quite a mix here. We got ads. Yeah, sorry. Speedline, lockdown, 51 vac, regular vac. What is this guy? Pencil? You like the looks of that half demonstrator? Yeah, that's pretty nice, isn't it? I was tempted to keep it, but it doesn't really fit my idea of something that I would rather trade it for something else. Are you back with us, McEnthusiast? So, well, I guess one last thing I will say is, you got to make the decision yourself. Unless you're geographically smack dab right in the middle, and not having been there, I'll take Hans's his word for it. DC is definitely the bigger of the two, and Chicago is not small. Plenty of vintage to be had at both. But what I might proposition is maybe if it's cheaper to go to Chicago. Yeah, DC is much larger. Yeah. If it's cheaper to go to Chicago and your budget is limited, go to Chicago. Save the money. You might be able to get some, a little bit else. Now, if you got bags of cash, then go to DC and be done with it. But if it's easier to get to DC, go to DC. If it's cheaper to go to Chicago, you might consider that just on the sole basis of you can shift some of that money from the plane travel expense, hotel expense, whatever you need, to the pen fund. Yeah, I always get nervous. You get a black vac that's like really clear, transparent. Almost 1 out of 3 don't open. And I think I tried to open this one before, and it didn't open. I think if the choice is go to a show or go to no show, you can't really make a bad choice. Even contemplating DC, make reservations now, it always sells out and you could cancel. Yeah. I think this is why I didn't get around to fixing this one. It's not coming open. And I started using the Allen wrench on the tool here. I don't know. Let's move on. This has got a really short section on it. It's definitely one where I use a section pliers on. right, that's good news on that one. Eh? Golden Web, not one I've ever kept myself. I've only had a couple of them. They sure are cool colors, though. That's how easy it should be for this to come out. Well, that didn't come out, but I mean, in theory. Mm. Got a feeling I tried this one too, and it didn't open up. It's a good looking pen too, so the cap's nice. Come on. Your local pen club area is trying a reboot, so they had a meetup at the show. Awesome. Did I get it? Did I get it? Did I get it? Did I get it? Something moved. I got it. The bad news is there's a little bit of disfiguration on the barrel, but I think I should be able to heat that. Let's hope they didn't use the same adhesive on the hood. Melbourne Pen Show is normally a one-day event. Given the huge amount of people at last year's show will be over 2 days, you get a number of exhibitors from Japan and Hong Kong. Yeah, I bet you do. That must be fun. It's always nice when a show graduates to that. There we go. 2-day mark. Okay, this is going to go. I will deal with that in a minute. Is that a relatively reasonable trip from Japan to Melbourne? I wonder. Only about 10 hours. Yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, all things considered, right? Most of the time, it's flying over Australia. That's a big continent, man. All right, let's give this one more try. Well, my hands are getting a little tired, so this is probably a terrible idea. Not today. Somebody glued that in. I might try some naphtha in there tomorrow. Oops. Yeah, this one gonna need a soak in order to get that. Just take that off now so it doesn't end up in the ultrasonic. So I have a Schaefer Cobra pen stand. They look pretty. Oh, is that the one that was on Facebook yesterday? No, I don't have one of those. I would consider that though. I don't really have much for Schaefer. I've got 3 or 4 bases, and that's about it. Father's Day's coming up. Drop the hit to Lisa. I don't know, man. If it was anything like Valentine's Day, I got the worst Valentine's Day present ever. And I can say that, and she won't be mad at me. She gave me her cold. And I was just out last week. I'm better. But I can still feel it some days. I haven't had to have Dayquil or NyQuil in several days, but... Alright, so... Oh, so this isn't even lined up right. Better finish it up and get to UPS. All right. Have a great night. There's no margin for error on this one. And before we seal it, we're just going to give another pass. On the nib. $4.43. Yeah, I don't think I'm not gonna start getting these out today. But I will start. Getting rid of this though. So we're still going to soak the barrel. I just, whenever you've got, especially if you've got a drain on your ultrasonic, try to get as much of the junk out of your barrels and your sections as you can. Because with the drain, it'll get stuck in that drain. And then inevitably it just drains slow. Plus, you just do a better job of cleaning it out if you get most of the crap out early. If you can't get it, it's fine, because the water will soften up. Your leftover sack parts. But, if I don't have to put that in there, I'm not going to put it in there. I believe that's a piece of wood. Somebody turned a piece of wood to fit in there. What an ingenious little idea that is. Let's get a piece of 0.9 lead and throw it in there. There we go. Always good to have some vintage lead around. You never know when you're going to need it. All right. Well, we're going to let those pens soak. We got a good tray here to, I don't know what we're going to do with this. I'll figure something out. We got to squirt a little naphtha down there and see what happens. But anyway, nothing else. I got a nice cap I can use for something else. Blind cap. I should see if the section comes off. We'll try that tomorrow. This all just needs to be shellacked, and it's good to go. I should have done that a month ago. Then tomorrow we can, we'll pop out. The collector should get out of this 51. We'll pop that filling unit out. Then we'll drill out all these units, and clean out the barrels and get moving on that. So we should be at a pretty good place tomorrow with those. And we'll test the touchdown that we just did today, the Esterbrook and the VS, and we'll go from there. So that's where we're going to be, and we'll see what happens with that lever filler, that kind of third tier thing. It's working right now, but I don't want to break it, you know. And since it's a family pen, what I would call a family pen, sometimes no repair is better than broken pen, especially if it writes, and it writes decently. So we may just go with that. It's kind of where I'm leaning towards. And you know, and if it was your pen, you might sit there and you might do different things. But when it's not your pen, and it has sentimental value, then different rules apply. So, in fact, I might not even, because I'm not familiar with the pen, I might not even leave it in the water overnight. I might just take it out right now is probably what I'm going to do. Because some of these third tier plastics are a little bit different. I'm sure it would be fine. But just having that water in that crack might be good enough for, I don't know. So we'll see. We'll work on those tomorrow. I am hoping to have a special, if you're still with me, I'm hoping to have a special surprise tomorrow. No, it's not a new desk set, but a sneak peek at a potential new product that is a repair product that is going to be coming to a pen store virtually near you soon. I'm getting some prototypes of something tomorrow, which will be very fun. They're supposed to be here tomorrow. And who knows? And I'm getting some consignment pens tomorrow too, so we can take a look at those. You can be the first to see those, and that's that. So, all right, that's it for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great evening, great afternoon, great morning, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we'll catch you tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Bye now.